ready?
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
Welcome to the Affiliate Cups podcast. We're your hosts, Morgan
And Bailey.
Hey guys, we are so excited. It is the beginning of March, which is National Women's History Month.
Yay!
Super fun, and we are totally women lovers.
We are women lovers.
So we wanted to talk just about some women in history that we think are really cool, some women today that we think would make history or should make history, and just some women that inspire us. So we're really excited to get into this topic today. Before we dive into that, what's filling your cup?
Today, I've got some water per usual, and I've also got a vanilla cola Zevia that I'm actually going to open up real quick.
Ooh,
Crispy.
Love that sound.
Yes, what's filling your cup?
I just have water. We both we went to a coffee shop before this, and we were scoping out some spots for our photo shoot. So stay tuned with that on our social media.
Coming soon.
Yes, a little re-photo shoot. So because I just had a dirty chai, I'm like a little bit wired.
Dude, I am also wired. I feel great.
Yeah. So I just have some water to hydrate myself from the caffeine.
Yes.
So that's what I have that's filling my cup.
Yay.
But what is also filling my cup, my heart cup, is this cute review. Now, I'm not going to lie. I did text a handful of people in the last week, and I was like, hey, if you don't mind taking a second, like, please leave us a review. It really helps. And I know we say it on the podcast all the time, like, please leave us a review. But truly, if you listen on Apple Podcasts and you're able to leave a review and give us a five-star rating, it makes a huge difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference.
Yes. So I have a sneaking suspicion of who this was, but the handle is lovebigger08, which that's effing cute.
It is so cute.
And I'm guessing that it is one of our sisters, Chloe Love.
It's gotta be.
But she gave us the subject line. She's so clever. It's infinity out of 10.
Oh, I don't even know how she did the infinity sign.
Me neither.
Wow.
Is that in the keyboard?
I don't know. Chloe, tell us how to do that.
Yeah, we'll have to have her on the podcast. Okay, but she gave us 5 stars, and she said, this podcast is something that lights up not only my day, but my week. Listening to this and encouraging my friends to listen to this is not only one of the best decisions I ever made, it was a saving grace. My Mondays had been so bleak and muddy, but now I can listen to this in my math class, which I'm like, shouldn't you be listening to your teacher in your math class?
She's doing homework and
regardless, I can listen to this in my math class, and it will light up my entire day. And it always encourages me to have something to sip, my water bottle nearby. So thanks for keeping me hydrated.
I love that because we did not prompt her as to what to say. We honestly were just like, leave us a review if you can, blah, blah, blah. And I love that she put in that she always makes sure she has something to sip on while she listens.
I know.
So
it's so cute. We want to know what you're sipping on. So please show us if you're in the car, or you're walking your dog, or you're just listening to this while you're making your morning coffee. If you have something in your hand that you're sipping on, please share it with us.
Yes.
Tag us on social media. Be like, I'm filling my cups both ways, and we would love to see that. So I did love that. She covered I felt like she crossed off all the boxes, honestly.
Yeah, she did. It was an incredible review. Thank you, Chloe Love.
Yes,
love
thank you so much. Very thorough. Appreciated a ton. Love you so much. So thank you so much. Shout out to you, LoveBug08. Or no, LoveBigger08. Sorry.
LoveBigger08. It's going to be hilarious if that's not Chloe Love.
That would be great. They DM us and they're like, I'm actually LoveBigger08.
Oh, we're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
We'll go back and edit the podcast to edit the episode. No, I'm just kidding. We're just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but thank you. Like Morgan said, reviews are everything. So if you're listening to this is your sign to go leave us a review real quick.
Yeah, for sure. So getting into our epised, very excited about it. Now, I do want to preface this with Bailey and I, neither of us are known for being history buffs.
Nope.
In any way, shape, or form. But the reason this came to mind for me was I recently read The Rose Code. Yeah. And that is a book about the code breakers who broke the Enigma code during World War. Ooh, see, not a history buff. Pretty sure it was World War II, but yes, because it was Germany. Well, Germany was both wars. I don't know.
Probably 2.
Yeah, I think it was World War II, because I do think they mentioned Hitler. But
okay, definitely 2.
Yeah, but anyway, so what I thought was so cool about this book was it shined a light.
Yeah, shone.
Shone a light.
Yeah, I don't think shined.
It lit up the fact that the women that that most of the men were at war. And so the people who were doing the code breaking of when they would communicate via telegrams, they would write in code, of course. And so they were trying to write to only their armies. And so the people who were doing the code breaking and reading the code were pretty much mostly women that were doing that. And it was just very fascinating. And I was like, I actually had no idea. And I did not learn about this in history.
No.
Did not learn about that at all. So I feel like it was a really cool book to read about. And I feel like recently we've talked about this, but how we've read a lot of historical fiction that shines light
on women.
Yeah.
Shine.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Okay. Also not English buffs, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, shines a light on women, like The Women and The Nightingale, and some of those historical fiction books that really show us that women had a bigger part to play than you see necessarily like in the bolded words in your history books.
Yes, and women are a huge part of history. And I think a forgotten part of history.
I think so, in a lot of ways. And I think that these historical fiction books do a really good job of pointing them out.
I do. I love them so much. I am loving this episode today because we did our Valentine's Day episode.
Yeah.
And I know in it I had said like, girls make the world go around, like we meet our girlfriends, things like that. And it reminded me that I have a woman tattoo, like it literally says woman. And I have had so many people think that that's either I'm like giving my pronouns and like really feel strongly about that, or that I'm a lesbian. I've had both. Whenever people find out I'm married, this has only happened a couple times, but they're like, wait, you're married to a man? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I thought you were gay because of your tattoo. Oh, and I'm like, no, but I think it's hilarious. So like, no.
What an assumption.
I know. I'm like, okay, no, but I think it's really funny. But I have my woman tattoo just because I love women so much. So I guess I could see it. People thinking I'm gay. But not really. But if I'm just telling people, like, I just love women.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that people don't know you, or that don't know you say that, because I also know that you like love the female body, but you're not necessarily like attracted to it. But you just like love.
I just appreciate it.
Yes, which you can totally do.
Yes.
I think you should, because the female body is freaking. I have so many people that are pregnant and having babies, and I'm like, the female body is awesome.
It's magnificent. It's magical.
Really,
it's so
miraculous, cool. Actually. Yeah.
Magnificent, miraculous, magical.
So we love our women.
Yes.
So that was kind of what brought it to mind. And then obviously it was just serendipitous that it's National Women's History Month. And we realized this at the beginning of the month, so we can celebrate women all month long.
Yes, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That'll be February was all about Valentine's Day.
Loving yourself, loving your partner, loving your girls.
All about women.
Yeah.
Woohoo! It's kind of fun. We could go with that theme.
We definitely could. Yeah. So, okay. So we just kind of want to talk about some of the women that, you hear about in history, and that we just kind of our thoughts on them, to be honest. I feel like we always have really good conversations whenever we bring someone up who did something like crazy cool, and then we're like, oh my God, can you imagine?
Can you believe it?
And then we also are going to talk in this episode a little bit about the women of today that we think will make history. And I'm excited about it.
It'll be fun. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
Well,
so I talked
with our first one.
I was gonna say I talked about the Rose Code women, which I thought were so cool. But one of the women that I always, sadly, I kind of forget about, and I actually didn't know this fact about her. Have you heard of Marie Curie?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you hear about her, and she was kind of a pioneer of technology and science and whatnot. But so she was really big. Formative in radioactivity science and X-ray technology.
Yes.
But I didn't know that, I did know that she was the first woman to receive a Nobel Peace Prize.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
First Nobel Peace Prize winner, and not the only woman, but the first person to receive a second one.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
I thought that was really cool, which I actually don't know what qualifies you to get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Either.
And I think that there are different categories or whatever that you get them in. But I didn't know until I started looking at, kind of these lists of amazing women in history, that she was the first woman to receive a Nobel Peace Prize, but then also the first person in general
To receive two.
to receive two.
No, that's really cool. I did not know that. I saw somewhere online that they call her the mother of physics. I'm like,
Really?
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that she's known as the mother of physics.
Yeah, damn. I wish I could talk to John about that. 'Cause he would eat that up, I
Probably
feel
knows
like.
all about her.
Yeah, no kidding. I just
Mhm.
feel like it's really cool that she was kind of the beginning of a lot of that.
Yeah.
And when you think about the awards and kind of just being first at anything, you know, is really impressive.
Mhm.
And I think it paves the way for other people in the
Yes.
field. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm. And to be respected too, I think it's a huge thing of like you can be a woman in a male dominated field and you have a
Mhm.
hard time getting the respect or being treated
Yeah.
as such. So I think that women who do it before us, they paved the way for
Yeah.
people like us now who can.
Yeah. I'm sure she did, but I wonder what she experienced like that.
I don't know.
Like,
yeah.
With the, I guess, discrimination or like sex
Mhm.
discrimination or
being taken seriously.
Yeah.
Listened to. Yeah.
it makes me wonder because I feel like there are a lot of like that lessons in chemistry book that I was telling you about. She's a
Mhm.
chemist and kind of in the 40s or 50s or something. And she's really, really brilliant, but obviously like not taken as seriously as a lot of the men in the same field and has to do a lot more to prove herself.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something when you like read about these people online, like when you read about Marie Curie
Yeah.
and her, just like her bio or whatever, or you read about her achievements, like they don't really go into that
No.
part of it. Like, oh,
Mhm.
and men did not care for her opinions. Or, you know what I mean? But she had to have experienced that.
Definitely. I'm sure, yeah, if you were going to read a biography about her or something, I'm sure that those things would be in there about like things that she faced or trials that she had to overcome
Yeah.
and things like that. I always wonder for women like this, especially way back in history, 'cause she was like the 1930s, I think is no. She died in 1930. She was like
wow.
1800s then, like
Yeah.
18. I think it said she was born. I literally just looked it up. I don't know why Okay, she was born in 1867 and died in 1934. So she died at 66 years old. And I feel like that it seems really young now, but it's probably pretty good
how
age.
young?
66.
Oh, that is young.
It is young, but back in 1930, that was
Yeah.
probably a pretty good age.
Yeah, I also
live.
wonder because 1934 isn't that like the Depression and stuff? Like,
Oh,
I wonder if that affects.
probably. She died from aplastic anemia.
Oh my
don't know what-
gosh, really?
Yeah. Oh, it has to do with blood cells, so you know all about that?
People I know have that.
Mm.
I mean, not that many, but like we have patients that.
Oh, also called bone marrow aplasia.
Yeah, so aplastic anemia, they have to get regular blood transfusions. So I wonder if she had to get regular blood transfusions.
Wow. Maybe, or do you even think that was a thing back then? Doing blood transfusions?
Yes, because it started in the First World War.
Oh, listen to this. It says the damage may be present at birth or occur after exposure to radiation, chemotherapy, toxic chemicals, some drugs, or infection.
Oh my god.
So she probably got it from that.
Dude, her work killed her.
Mm-hmm.
That is so
Mm-hmm.
sad.
She
God.
lived for 66 was pretty good. But
That is pretty good, but that is actually so sad that like the achievements that she
Yeah.
got came at like a huge cost.
yeah, that is.
People knew so little about so much of that though, and her learning more about it is probably what, you know how like when you go to the dentist or the doctor or whatever and they protect you against the radioactivity like
Yes.
stuff, and like she was a pioneer for that, so that's crazy. It almost is like she sacrificed herself to like make our technology better so that we could have
Yes.
a better life.
Yes. Listen to this fact that I just saw. It says her notebooks are radioactive. It says Marie Curie died in 1934 of aplastic anemia, likely due to so much radiation exposure from her work with radium. Marie's notebooks are still today stored in lead-lined boxes in France. As they are so contaminated with radium, they're radioactive and will be for many years to come. Radium, after all, has a life of 1,600 years.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
crazy. Her notebooks.
That's wild.
That is wild. Man, I want to read a book about her.
Same.
I want to get to know this girl.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Well, all of that, I was going to say, it makes me wonder, because we were talking about the men and like the trials that she has to face and things like that. And it makes me wonder, especially this far back in history, because it was not normal for women to be like leaders or powerful or smart. Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't even supposed to get an education kind of thing. So, and I always wonder how men in her life of like a father or her husband who also worked in radioactivity, but like all those people, I always wonder how they viewed her. If the father viewed her as someone that he was proud of,
yeah,
or if he was ashamed or something like that, of being like, oh, like my daughter, she's supposed to stay home and be a wife. She's supposed to do this. She's not doing any of that. So I always wonder for people in history how their male figures in their life thought of them. Because even now we still face that today. Of like if daughters want to go out and do something bigger than what they were ever really expected to do, I do think it can be faced with criticism and trials.
Yeah, I feel like it takes a really bold person to be able to do that. I bet you're right. I bet that there were people very, very close to her that did not like what she was doing and did not like that she was going out, like not staying in her lane.
Yeah.
And
that makes me wonder.
Thank goodness, because sometimes it's a 2-lane road and you need 3 lanes. Like it just I think that wow, that's really
The next person in history that I really think of, and honestly, this is not a man-hating episode. We love our men. We talk about them all the time. So if you think this is a man-hating episode, you're wrong. But the next woman I think of who is a huge woman in history is Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah.
And so I watched a show called The Crown. And it's kind of it's not a 100% fact. Obviously, there's dramatization. What's the word? Dramatization? Dramatization. Whatever. They make it more dramatic than like it ever really was. But I learned that she was obviously the oldest daughter and they didn't have any sons. So like the king and queen before, or her parents or whatever. And when the king passed away, she became the queen and she was so young and she had also just gotten married.
I didn't realize she was that young.
She was very young. Yeah, I can try to find, let's see.
No, go on. She had just gotten married.
She had just gotten married and I like watching the show, you just see how everyone in parliament at that time was male. And so she had to listen to a lot of man opinions and things like that. And she really figured out for herself what she wanted to do and what she thought was best while also being a mother, while also being a wife. And in the show, it really shows a lot how her husband, who is that? King Charles, I think is his name. Hold on. Sorry, Prince Philip. King Charles is her son. It shows her husband, Prince Philip, and how he really struggles with her being the queen and him just, And there's an episode specifically with her coronation and they tell him that he needs to bow to her and like kiss her hand. And he says like, I'm not going to bow to you. And she's like, you need to bow to me. I am your queen, basically. Like you have to do it. And he does end up doing it, but it's like a really contentious thing in the episode, which I totally get. But I'm like, man, like I just think I just think about her being so powerful and having to deal with everything. And like having to prove herself over and over again.
She was 25, by the way.
25. Can you imagine being queen? At 25. That's crazy.
It's interesting you saying all this because I was like, what did I just read that had this in it? It was the Rose Code. And it was around the same time. And one of the female code breaker, like main characters in it was dating Prince. I don't know if this is true, but was dating Prince Philip before. So also, did you know that they were cousins?
Oh, they're all cousins.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But were they first cousins?
They weren't. I think they were
maybe second.
They were too close for comfort. But anyway, so Prince Philip, he is he's like from Austria or like something like that.
Yeah.
Like, he was like 5th in line in his royal
Yes.
country.
Yes.
And so he was never going to be
Prince of
king.
Greece and Denmark.
Greece, that's right.
Mhm.
And so he had older brothers that he was like never going to be king there.
Mhm.
And he had his English cousin or whatever, Lisbeth, he called her.
Yeah.
And they like were pen pals for a long time or whatever. And then they became close. Now, there wasn't any of the contention that you're talking about in this book.
Yeah.
But it was definitely sad because like the main character that we read about, you want her to end up with Prince Philip. Like, obviously she doesn't.
Yeah.
She's not Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
But
wow, how interesting.
Yeah.
What
really,
a fun
really.
way to tie in the stories.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Queen Elizabeth, very very influential.
For sure. I don't know why, but I feel like growing up, I think that there were so many jokes made about her of like I would always see memes of being like, oh yeah, she's a witch, like she's never gonna die. She like
she's so old.
Because she was so old. She died at 96, I believe is what it was. But I feel like I grew up thinking that she was like evil or something. But she was actually a beloved queen.
Yes.
Like
very much
people
so.
loved her and she did great things for her country.
And people wept, even in America, when she died.
Yes. I actually saw a video. This is
Oh no.
kind of off topic. No, it's not bad. Okay. But I saw a video where someone was waking up their friend from a nap and they're like, oh my God, like the queen died. And they said, Dolly Parton. They're like, no, the actual queen.
Okay, that's an influential one.
Yes, she is.
No, the actual queen. That is so funny.
I know. I thought that was hilarious.
That's a really good one. One that came to mind for me was Maya Angelou.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think the real reason is because I've been tossing around the famous quote that's like, people remember how you make them feel. I think like people, she has some quote like that. But just as a poet in general, like I feel like her poetry was it was really influential for people of her demographic, but then also just very influential, I think, of like treating people with kindness and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that I just think that she's like someone that I remember learning about in school and remember being like, wow, that was like, she wasn't necessarily, she was more influential in the arts more than like politics or science or something like that. But it was almost just as influential, you know?
Yes, absolutely. I just saw the quote that says, I did not know these were by her, but when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot. I did not know that.
Yes.
I think maybe this is the one you were going with. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
How you made them feel. That I like try to live by that.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I can like second guess a lot of things that I say and do. Honestly, like I overthink them a lot. But at the end of the day, the way that people feel leaving my presence is what they're gonna remember more so. I mean, obviously, I can't say like you suck and then
but I mean, they're not gonna
remember what I said. So
but they're also not gonna enjoy being in your presence.
Yes, exactly.
If you say things like that and you do things like that and you act like that.
So it really helps me less, like to overthink less, but then also to focus more on showing love, honestly, just cheesily, like showing love, and being loving and nurturing and trying to make people feel seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you know that she was born in St. Louis?
No.
She's a local. So I actually, when we were little, we had to do in school, we did I can't remember if it was a local heroes or if it was just heroes of history or whatever, but you had to learn all about someone in history and then present it. And I actually did Maya Angelou.
You did?
Yes.
I didn't realize
Yes.
that.
I mean, it was so long ago. I had to be 1st or 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Like it was so long ago. I barely remember it.
Yeah.
But I have always known who she is because
so
of that.
Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure I did one like that on Helen Keller.
Really? Yeah.
Also, how the F did that woman?
I don't know.
Crazy. Being like having that much disability and then still becoming like a famous woman in history and doing a lot, having so much charity work. Like I just women are impressive, man.
Even I don't know her name, but if we're gonna go on to Helen Keller. I'm looking her up. But her teacher too is
Yes.
who was it?
Anne
Sullivan.
Yes.
Yes. Is like, how did she know what to do?
Yeah.
How did she work with her? How did she do that?
Yeah, you're actually right. Anne Sullivan. I mean, working through the disability, but teaching someone to work through the disability.
Yes.
That is a real
And
feat.
becoming like their eyes and ears and everything about them is crazy.
Yeah, so cool.
It's very, very cool. I did want to go back to Maya Angelou for a second
Sorry, I
because
was on to my project.
no, you're very good. Oh my gosh, I literally just had a fact that I wanted to bring up. What was it? Yes.
It's okay. I got you on to Helen Keller.
Oh, I got distracted.
Was it about St. Louis or about her?
No, I think it was going to be about some of her achievements.
Oh,
what was it? I just had it.
That's okay.
And then it went away.
How old was she? Or like
she
when
was.
was she? Let's see, 1928. She was born.
Yes, 1928, and she passed in 2014. So 86 years old.
Oh my god, I didn't know that she passed during my lifetime.
I didn't know that either. I feel kind of bad.
Yeah, were we made aware?
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I did not know this, but it says that Maya Angelou was mute as a child.
Oh.
Wow. And then
was it trauma?
It was trauma,
Oh,
yes.
God.
And she had to testify in court. And then that is what she believed that her voice has led to his death. Sorry. I guess that doesn't really make much sense. Okay. Maya Angelou became mute as a child because she was raped by her mother's boyfriend at the age of 7. Oh. And after testifying against him in court, she believed that her voice has led to his death, causing her to withdraw and stop speaking for several years. She felt that she could kill someone else. Oh. Poor girl. It says she remained mute for about 5 years.
Okay, no wonder though. She
is such a beautiful poet.
Yes. Gosh, imagine being like trapped with those thoughts.
Yeah.
And having to work through them and like what comes out the other end.
Yeah.
It just honestly, it just reminds me, even thinking about when we were talking about Marie Curie and kind of her sacrifice for the better good almost.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminds me that a lot of the people that we view as like so inspiring and so great went through some shit.
Yes.
And
they had to go through a lot.
And that most of the time, I don't know if this is inspiring or if this is sad, like depressing, but like most of the time in order to be great, you also have to have like the bad stuff too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that sometimes like the worst things breed the best things, you know?
Definitely. No, that is terrible. It does say that she was given an honor of medal or the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I don't know what is wrong with my words. In 2010, which is very cool. And it was by Barack Obama. So that had to feel really cool.
Dude, I was so not aware.
Me either.
Just like a high schooler.
Yeah.
Trying to have
Me too.
A boyfriend and stuff. And Maya Angelou's over here having an award presented by Barack Obama.
Oh, and going through some shit. I really am enjoying this episode so far because it's making me want to learn more and more and more about all these women.
Yeah.
Very cool. One that I think is so cool is Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah.
She is a woman or a woman of women's. She knew what she was doing. She, passed away at 96.
Wow.
So she lived a big, long life. She died of cardiac arrest.
Oh, a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a surprise. I feel like the reason that Katharine Hepburn came to mind for me whenever I was thinking about this episode is because when we read that Valley of the Dolls book, which go back and listen to that book club episode if you haven't, but that was such a good book club episode. But anyway, the main character wore pants to work a lot. She worked in an office. It's very normal to wear pants, but at the time it wasn't. Like women only wore skirts and dresses.
Yes.
And I remembered one of the guys being like, "Who does she think she is? Katharine Hepburn?" And it was because Katharine Hepburn at the time was like such a fashionista. And she was kind of allowed to wear trousers, is what they called them. But it wasn't like people kind of look down on you. It's almost like, you know, when the trend first starts and it's like, I can't pull that off. That person can, but I can't. That's kind of how it was with Katharine Hepburn. Like she could pull anything off, including men's pants.
Yeah, I was going to say she was challenging gender norms, which is still a huge thing today.
Yes, exactly. I love it.
Mhm.
And I love it because a lot of the like trouser looks that we have today are so Katharine Hepburn. Like the trend,
Yes.
the trend of the like trouser pants being back is Katharine Hepburn.
Mhm.
So I just think it's really cool when someone, challenges the norm and then it becomes common.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like she made that happen.
No, absolutely she did.
Thank God.
It does say she was known for her headstrong independence, spirited personality, and outspokenness. So there you go. That all makes sense of why she was able to challenge the dress code and
Yeah.
gender norms and show up on screen and show up in her personal life and live such a long, influential life.
Yeah. Talking about these women, it really does make me think like, okay, what made her that way? Or like
Yeah.
what experiences, what relationships,
What drove
things-
her there?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really cool.
I always wonder about that too, because I always wonder what is different between like nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
If she was always going to be like that, or maybe she had a really headstrong mom, or maybe she
Yes.
just saw like maybe it was just in her nature to be
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not doing that, or
Yeah.
no, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pave my own way, kind of things.
Yeah.
Very
I think
cool.
the reason I think of those things is because there are like if someone pointed to qualities that I have or whatever, like most notable qualities about Morgan or Bailey or whatever,
Mhm.
there are things that I could point to pretty directly, like in my childhood or in
Yeah.
or in environmental things or experiences that I had growing up or things that happened in the world at the time that I could
Mhm.
point to and I could be like, that's probably had a big factor in me being the way that I am or me
Yeah.
liking the things that I like or things like that. So it always
Mhm.
makes me wonder with someone who achieved so much. I'm like, what was it that
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. That's what I was saying earlier. Like this episode is making me want to learn all about these women.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, I need a full deep dive into
Did
their
they have a
life.
supportive
And
dad? Did they get the, did they whatever? just different things
what
like
did they
that.
have to go through to get there?
Yeah.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Well, Katharine Hepburn was like the last one that when I was just like kind of making a list, which there are
Yeah.
so many other women,
Of
obviously.
course.
We're not saying these are like the best of them or anything
No.
like that.
Or the top women in history or
No,
anything.
they're just some of the ones that came to mind.
Mhm.
But I did want to talk about some of the women today.
Yes.
Do you have any like historical figures first before we move on?
No.
Okay.
No.
Any others? I mean, but yeah.
Can't think of any.
so there are so many women today. I feel like women are rocking it today.
Dude, they are.
And so empowered today, and I'm trying to guess like which ones will be like say 60 years from now
Yes.
in the textbooks. Well, e-readers. I don't know. in the information that like
yeah, in the
kids
history.
will be reading. Because you
Mhm.
know how like you read about like Katharine Hepburn, just like people in the textbooks. And so I'm like, who will be those people
Yeah.
in the future?
Yeah, or like think about how we all know about Marilyn Monroe. Who's
Yeah.
going to be the Marilyn
like,
Monroe in
Elvis
6
or-
years?
yeah.
Things like that. Obviously, the first one that comes to mind for us is Taylor Swift.
Obviously.
She's just making such history right now.
Yes.
It's so cool to be alive at the same time as her.
I know.
And sometimes I love it when men hate her. Because I'm like, you would.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday at Galentine's that like because the Super Bowl was recently.
Yes. And she
And-
got booed.
And she got booed, and
Mhm.
everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, you dumbass men!"
yeah.
Which I'm sure that there were female Philadelphia
Oh, of
fans
course.
that booed her too.
Of course.
And it was probably
Women
just 'cause
hate her
it-
too.
Yeah,
but-
and it was probably just because it was in Philadelphia, and Eagles fans are kind of mean.
Mhm.
But
We're talking to you, Morgan and Cooper.
yeah, no, I'm
They're like the
just-
nicest people we know.
I know. I'm just joking. But
Yes.
but regardless, like she got booed and it's
Mhm.
like that same stadium she sold out 3 nights in a row.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think that she's okay.
I think that she's absolutely going to be someone in history because I mean she's doing things that have never been done. No one's ever done an eras to her before. No one has ever been on stage for 3+ hours before and doing an entire
Yeah.
show, selling out stadiums with seats that you can't even see her.
Yeah.
Like people parking out in the venues trying to get there, but also the things that she does outside of being an artist. So she donates money constantly and like
Yeah.
huge sums. She pays her workers incredibly. She tips everybody at venues. Like
That's so
she just does things that are outside of what she has to do.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what makes her really impressive. Now, she is a celebrity, so of course she's going to do things that us normal people are like, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing this. Or like she had that big jet controversy, which is it sucked. And it was like, yeah, damn it. So I wonder how that's all going now. But I think regardless of any of like the things that, because you can always point at someone and find a flaw. You always can. But I do think that she does so much for women. And I think that that's why women become historical, is because they're doing so much for other women.
I think so too.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah. Paving the way, really. Yeah. No one's done what she's done. And I'm sure that there are going to be other people that come back and do Eras tours. And I think it's very impressive.
Something I really like about Taylor Swift is that she has never been overtly or overly sexual. And I really, really like that about her. I feel like right now she's kind of going into her like really sexy era, and good for her. She's in her 30s and she looks amazing, and like she feels good. You can tell she feels good.
Yes.
But I really like that she has never had really sexual music videos, or she's never talked really explicitly in her music and things like that.
Yeah.
And I like people who do it, like Sabrina Carpenter, right? Her whole shtick is like very sexual. And that's okay. I love her music. I think like those people are great, but I really like that Taylor Swift has never had to use that.
Yeah.
Or never done that.
She's just a very good storyteller. And sometimes her stories like do involve that intimacy, but a lot of the time it's more her music. All of her songs are really more about whatever is happening in the song, like the story that is happening. I love her. I think she's the best lyricist specifically of our time. I wouldn't call her like the best vocalist of our time. I think she has great vocals and she's so talented and she's very artistic. She plays lots of instruments. Yeah. But I think that her the big thing that she is so good at is lyrics. Yeah. And I think it's exactly what you're saying. Like she doesn't necessarily have to resort to something controversial or catchy or whatever because she just can tell a story really beautifully. Yeah. And
I love her.
Yeah, I love her so much. But yeah, she will definitely make the history books. Another one that came to mind for me, which maybe I just realized maybe it was also because of the Super Bowl that she came to mind. But I think she would have anyway. But Serena and Venus Williams.
Oh, yes.
Which they've already like made movies about them and whatnot. But Serena Williams came to mind immediately for me as like a major female athlete.
Oh, absolutely.
Paved the way for other female athletes. Because when I think about female athletes, I think there are only a handful that like I really
can point to and know who it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Serena Williams is a huge one. Obviously also being
a woman of color and in such a like tennis is a huge male dominated sport.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like she paved the way for a lot of other female athletes too.
Yeah, I completely agree. I actually just read a story on her because she was featured at the Super Bowl, so she's definitely like picking up again like a lot of headlines and stuff. But I just read a story about her that right after she had one of her children, she was competing in a tournament and she was wearing, it was basically like a full body jumpsuit and it was to prevent blood clots because she had just had her baby.
Yeah.
And that the people in the tennis community had said, like, you need to respect the sport. You're not dressed appropriately, blah, blah, blah. And so then their next tournament, she came in wearing a tutu and dominated.
Oh,
and it was like,
I remember that.
It was to show like it did not matter what she wore. And also she was wearing a full body jumpsuit, literally no skin showing, full body jumpsuit to protect her body from her like dying and like getting all these blood clots. And that I think that she is also someone who's like similar to Queen Elizabeth that I was saying, I just thought she was evil growing up.
Really?
Yes. Do you know the amount of people I've heard be like, oh, Serena Williams is actually a man? Like, yeah.
What?
Yes. It's like the horribleness of we hate women.
Yeah.
As a society.
Yeah.
And
especially women who can be masculine. Like it is very possible that Serena Williams was born with like a higher testosterone level than some other women. It's very possible. It's very possible for a lot of women or female athletes, honestly.
Yeah.
And because that just is the case. Like, and it's the case with men too. Some men are born with more testosterone than other men.
Yes.
And it's very possible, like, that is so annoying to me.
I know. And mean, it's just, I think it's pure racism and pure homophobia, or not homophobia. I'm sorry. Pure misogyny and sexism. Like, it's really just like they see her smash a racket and they're like, oh my God, like, I can't believe it. She's not a woman, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, yeah. But then you can see men smash tennis rackets and it's like, oh, they're just having a bad day. They just need a beer. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. You had another athlete on here, I saw.
Simone Biles.
Yes.
She's gonna make history. I mean, she already has.
Yes.
She's already made all of the histories. And I think it's so cool because she's so young.
She's so young.
And she just seems to really enjoy herself and enjoy her life. And obviously you only see highlights, but she just seems to know herself and stand up for herself. And do you know, if this is accurate, we might, if not, we might have to take this out. But do you know she was a part of the group of women who testified against their male trainer who was like sexually harassing them?
I want to say yes, but
I can't remember if she was involved in that or if it was the other girls, but.
So, she did share her story of being sexually abused by the USA Gymnastics.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah,
so she probably did. Okay, so yeah, if she was talking about that, then she did testify.
It definitely looks like she's in a courtroom testifying. I do think she was with that group. Yeah,
I would definitely think so too.
I felt like I was her testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Blah blah blah.
Okay.
It was detailing of the mishandling by him. And she reported sexual abuse. Yeah.
I think
sexual assault. Excuse me. I don't know what the difference is, but
yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, I just think she's already gone down in history. She's already done so many amazing things and spoken for so many people and paved a way for gymnasts and women of color and
abused women,
especially in sports.
Yeah,
where it probably happens behind closed doors often.
You know what's crazy about that is I feel like it's been illuminated heavily that in like Hollywood and the film industry that is so common.
Yeah.
But I haven't really thought about it with sports that much.
Like I think it happens in sports
until more recently.
A lot.
But it makes so much sense because like the reason that it happens or happened, I mean, I'm sure it's still happening, but I feel like it's being uncovered more in Hollywood,
and girls are being protected more. And
I think it's because men were always in leadership there.
Yeah,
and of course that's the case in sports. So that's
and we never really heard about it. And then Simone Biles and that group of women spoke out, and and it encourages other women to do the same and to feel like you can be protected. And so I think she has made history and will continue to make history. I think
this is less serious, obviously.
That's okay.
but she was on Snoop Dogg brought her on as his mega mentor.
Oh hell yeah!
Which I was like, she doesn't even sing. Like, what are you doing, Snoop Dogg?
Was it for stage performance?
It was,
or just for fun?
Kind of. He had her on, and the people at what she talked to them about was confidence and like owning yourself and whatnot. And it was so funny because Snoop Dogg is so tall and Simone Biles is so short. I'm not kidding. She had to like stand on a step stool thing to like get up to her chair.
Oh my God!
That was like the normal like size for Snoop Dogg or whatever.
Yeah,
it was so funny. But yeah, so and when she was on that, I was like, she just seemed really down to earth too. And
that's what I really like about her. Is that she just knows herself.
Yeah. But she talked a lot about like believing in yourself and confidence and like where to dig deep down, like whenever you're second guessing yourself, stuff like that. So it was helpful for the performers. But I was just like, Snoop Dogg, why did you pick a gymnast? That's so random.
That's so funny. The people on The Voice are probably like, what the heck? Like,
but
I thought we were gonna get Usher or something.
Yeah. The last one that I had that is, I don't really think it has to be controversial because I'm not even saying it politically. I think it's more so just like this person has done a lot in the community and in the nation, and then also has shared a lot. Like, I've read a couple of her books, but Michelle Obama has made a huge difference. And honestly, not even just in, like I said, the politics of everything, but also like in talking about nutrition for children and like
Mhm.
starting some of those conversations and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I would be very, very surprised if Michelle Obama was not notable, maybe not as notable, but probably as notable as her husband in
Oh,
textbooks.
absolutely. Yeah, she will go down
Yeah.
in history for
I
sure.
feel like it's kind of like, you know how people like Jackie Kennedy was like a huge
Yes.
like, or Eleanor Roosevelt or whatever.
Yes.
I feel like they were referenced a lot
Mhm.
as you talked about their husbands and like our textbooks that we read.
Yeah.
I feel like Michelle Obama will be that way.
I
with-
completely
with
agree.
Barack.
I
Yeah.
completely agree. Have you read either of her books?
I read The Light We Carry.
Oh, really? I haven't read either of them, and I
Yeah.
really want to.
Yeah, it was good. I'm not gonna lie. There were times I did audiobook and there were times I kind of got bored. But
Did she read it?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but my friend told me that the first one, I can't remember its name, but the first one
I think
that
it's
she
Becoming
wrote-
Her.
Is that it?
I think so.
Becoming. That
How is
sounds
Becoming Her?
That sounds
Hold on. Fact check.
Michelle
Her.
Obama becoming. Is
Okay.
it
Maybe it's not because I
But-
don't see that
but
at all.
Michelle Obama
book.
becoming? And I bet that because I feel like it is
Oh, it's just Becoming.
becoming. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you said becoming her, and I was like, it's becoming something.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Maybe Becoming Her is something else I've read
Okay,
about. But
yeah.
Becoming.
So that one I did not read, but I have a friend who said that she read both and she really liked Becoming a lot, and it has a lot more to do with her past and how she became
Yeah.
who she is today. And The Light We Carry, I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember a lot of the details about it, but I felt like it was a lot more about our just kind of like broad topics about our impact on people and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was less about intricate things that she's done. But she
Mhm.
did co-write one of the most recent books that I was reading.
Really?
Yeah, the personal development one. I talked about it a bunch.
Oh.
I forgot what it was called already, but I think my chai latte is wearing off.
Mine too.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, but I think there's no way she's not
No.
referenced in history books in the future.
Definitely no
Probably
way.
already is.
She is another person who has so much hate. I've heard there's things even now that I see on Twitter that are like, oh, she's actually a man. Why is that always the rumor that people want to go with?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The person I didn't know that about Serena or Michelle, but
Mhm.
I always remember hearing that about Lady Gaga, and that was
Yep.
like when she was really, really big, and I was like, she's clearly not a man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. I'm sure that there's still rumors about it. Yeah, I want to know why that's the go-to when it's like you would like her more if
Yeah,
she was a man.
That's actually so odd.
I
'cause
know.
Do you feel like people do that with men? Like when they really don't like that, they're like, he's actually a woman.
No.
No.
No, I've never heard that.
I'm like sitting here processing, like, does that happen ever? And
No.
I can't think of a single time.
No, but yeah, I'll see people even now that are like, we've never seen a picture of Michelle Obama pregnant, and it's because she's a man, and like things like that. And it's like,
That's so weird.
if you hate women, just say that.
Yeah, that's
I
so
don't know.
weird. I don't even really
Mhm.
know how to feel about that.
It's just, when I hear about it, I just feel ridiculous, and I feel sad for the people who have such hate in their heart. Honestly, is how I feel, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that's such a bummer.
Yeah, because like all these things, you said this earlier, we're not men haters. Like
Mhm.
we're women lovers, but that doesn't make us man haters.
Mhm.
Like we love men.
Yeah,
But I don't feel the need to like bash
yeah.
men just like for succeeding. I don't.
Exactly. That's what it is. I feel like whenever you hit a level of status or a power, you do just get hated more. Like, there's always going to be someone who hates you. People love to hate. Like, me and Mason say it all the time. People just love to be haters. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like anything popular, there's always going to be someone who hates
Sure.
it. Or anything positive, there's always going to be someone who hates it.
Yeah.
But I just definitely feel like for these women, they just have to get, like, there's so many more hurdles that they have to go through to be respected and be taken seriously and to be just like allowed to be themselves.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a crazy thing.
That is crazy.
Mhm.
That's sad.
It's unfortunate to say that I do feel like the hate that they get is an opportunity for me to learn more compassion and for me to
Yeah.
learn more love and
Yeah.
like how to speak and what words I'm making sure not to say. And
yeah.
like, I don't want people to, I don't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And honestly, Maya Angelou, like just thinking about how you make people feel.
Yeah.
And I think that it is a good opportunity for that, and just remembering that people have feelings and that these people are people too. And
Mhm.
yeah.
God, I know I say this to Mason. I'm like, I can never be famous. I can never make
I
it.
can't take it.
No, I really can't. I'm like, if I were to get online and see one bad thing about myself, I'm going to believe it. Like,
Yeah.
even though you can tell yourself it's not true and like they just are hating you because you're better or blah blah blah. It's so much, and I
Yeah.
think people who can do that are so impressive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh man. Well, we love women.
Yes, we do. And if you think so, obviously this was not an exclusive list. We just were kind of going off the cuff, thinking
Spitballing.
people. Yeah. So if there are women that you think need to be on this list, historical or present day, just please, we would love to hear about it. We'd love to be like, oh, you're so right about her.
Yes.
We love her too.
Get to learn some more about them.
Yes. And if you have women in your life that you love and think are also like worthy of history, you know,
Yeah.
then please tell them today. Send this to them. Be like, I think that you're awesome, and I want to like send you this episode in honor of National Women's History Month because you're a woman that I love.
Yes.
Please send this to them and let us know who you're sharing with and who you think should be on this list and what's filling your cups.
Yes. Woohoo. Well, on that note, cheers.
Cheers.